has gained like take it easy. You ready for this? Right, welcome. So you're about to watch episode number 98. I'm probably going to title it Spark. Don't worry about it if it's not titled that anywhere else, because that's essentially the outcome of it. But I'll speak about elements of my reaction to what happened on Instagram. Not a reaction to what happened. There was a really popular reel that went out on Instagram, me telling my Zim story, how I reacted to it, what I felt. I speak a little bit about that. And then I'm also asking you guys a couple of questions that I need some feedback on. So if you take a listen, either comment on the podcast, reply to the email, or just Instagram, DM me, or if you have my number, WhatsApp me, because we've got episode number 100 coming up soon. I want to tell my whole story. Yeah, let's go. But for now, enjoy the episode. I appreciate you. So we're back. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. And it's me. Back in the studio, and I'm thinking I'm going to give you guys a story so far, but it's including my journey from Zim to South Africa to England to current day, with an overview, and then maybe make it episode 99 and 100. I'm trying to think, maybe I want to do that. So just so you guys know, if you want to comment, if you listen to this, would you like to hear my story from Zim to South Africa to England to present day and what currently got going on? I will be doing that whether you like it or not. It's just how soon. And if there's more interest, then I will. Because I actually realized that episode 100, do we make it something that's special? Do we do it something unique, or do we just carry on because it's just another milestone? But we're nearly at episode 100. How cool is that? I think maybe what I'll start with now is a precursor to my story, because I think it's important. Like my Instagram, which I haven't really put any effort into, I don't really know what I want to talk about. From 8,000 followers to nearly 12 now, all of one reel. And it's the reel where I'm just talking about my journey, or when we left Zimbabwe. So literally when we left, like that's where we came from. Now, maybe that's what today's episode will be about. It's just like acceptance, belonging, confusion, and like just being self, and like why do we ask? Why do we seek permission of people that actually are not the people we should be seeking permission from? Maybe that's the best way. This is the way the episode's going to go. Thanks for listening and bearing with me. So when I did the reel, and you can go and check it out on Shapes of Resilience podcast. Ollie's a great guy. Just me speaking about my journey. And it's literally I don't think it's even a minute long. So we fit the story in, and he puts the music in. And it's just of us leaving the farm in Zim. So a quick story is the war veterans came and took over our farm, slowly started to beat up the workers, block the roads, all that kind of stuff. So we moved off the farm, and my dad would travel back and forth, and then eventually it just got too much. They started to beat the workers up to a point where they were scared to work. So it just made the farm unfunctional, and we had to leave. So everything we had in the truck, and we left. And I remember at like 5 a.m, this is part of, I think it's in the reel. It's like at 5 a.m, we leave. It was early in the morning. And I just remember my whole family started to cry. No one said anything. It wasn't like anyone said, goodbye, family. And then it just, at one moment, we were driving away from the house. And it was almost like a classic movie scene where it's like the house is shrinking in the background, the car's going, they're focusing on the family, and everyone just gets overwhelmed by this sadness or realization that we're leaving. This whole life has been left behind. So my reel got sent out, and it just obviously hit a new audience at the right time, but it was very split. So the interesting part is we had to turn the comments off in the reel because there was so many toxic, and I do say toxic, I'll put a stance there, toxic, different, and maybe not just toxic, but different opinions and different perspective people that were just having a go. And it didn't sit easy. It made me really nervous, I'm not going to lie. And then there was the other side of it, where people were like, wow, what a journey. Thanks for telling your story. We're so proud of you. Look at the Zimbabwe, like all of you achieved. Because I've gone on to achieve, I played for England, and I've always thought I'm representing Zimbos. Like I love Zimbabwe. Like you'd ask, to a point where it must annoy like my mom, because I always kept saying I'm not South African, I'm Zimbabwean, and all that kind of stuff. And it's just every time I hear someone's Zimbabwe, it's like, oh, I must be a great guy, must be a great girl. But like, there's always just this connection that I will always have. But the reel went out, and boy, oh boy, did I take a lot of self-reflection on that. It almost went right back into my shell, and I was like, geez, I've essentially spent life going from Zim, belonging, identity, having all that, to South Africa, something completely new, to then once you're done with school, and then the normal changes where you go to university and you start again. So it's a lot of fresh starts, and then coming to England, even fresher start, even less family, all that stuff, just me and Ray. And so there's been a lot of restarts, but all that time you kind of sit with this, I don't know where I kind of belong, because I know that I belonged to where I was born. And I think all of us will have an element of that. And a lot of people commented like, there must have been quite a lot of trauma to go through. And I'd never seen it as traumatic. I don't know if I don't necessarily like aligning with that trauma, the trauma word, because the context is so important. And yeah, I really want context with that word. So I never saw it that way. But the more you start to think about it, you go, it actually is quite a big shift at a quite an important part of life. Like going from junior school to senior school is bigger on its own, as long as you have some people that you can refer back to, like friends that are at different schools, but you can still meet up, or family friends, or similar environments. There is a big transition, but mine was completely different. It was like completely new. Like there were no friends, no family, just my mom, my dad, my sister, and me. So the like core network was completely gone. And you're going into that new environment, and it can be quite a big shift. So it's allowed me to actually realize there's a lot to learn from that. And I'd really dive deep into it. I love it. But the turning the the comments off was because it did start to get toxic. So you have people saying, there is a I don't know how you're going to word this, black and white, or indigenous, or native, or that was my land before it was yours, so no one really took your land away. And I really didn't know how to approach that. But then at the same time, I had so many really awesome people DMing me saying, I loved your story. I'm so sorry for what happened. And it basically came down to like, everyone starts to divide and identify. And then because they identify, they then create separation. So my people versus your people and all this kind of stuff. And I've always just thought, I'm like, actually one person did message me saying, don't you want to apologize for what your people did to my people and stuff? And they were horrific crimes. And I said, they're not my people. Just because they were white, they're not my people, right? We judge people by their character, not their looks. So as much as you may think that they are my people, they're not. They're not my, I don't know who did what to you. I don't know what happened. And I don't know if I should be apologizing for any of it. But I feel like I have to. So it's an interesting journey. I'm willing to speak about it because I don't know any better. But I would really love to be able to just go, guys, how can we do the best with what we've got? Like if I've played rugby for England, and by the way, that person I was speaking to he came and bashed me, and then he went and said, but now you've made it, can you give me some advice in rugby? And I was like, how can you bash me like that and then ask me to help you? And I said, but because I've learned and I want to embody what I think we should do, I'll say, please don't bash me. I judge people by character, not their looks. And if you want advice, here's the advice. Really love to see you succeed, because that's be the change you want to see in the world, right? And he then deleted his first message, and then came back and said thank you and asked a couple of other questions. And I was like, all we had to do was connect on that level. I've had people like really saying, I love your success. How can we succeed more? And we should just keep shining that light. But then you also have a different group of people just being like, not even acknowledging success or that we can help each other out. It's just like, well, this is where I am. You should be here too. And it has been up until this point somewhere where I'm like, how do I step into this? And only recently have I started to really go, I don't actually need the permission of the people that are going, you're not from this land, whatever you weren't, like, just because you're born here doesn't make you Zimbabwean. I don't know. The question I said, like, who made them the authority? So in my head, I've been given this person authority and that narrative authority, these people that line that, and completely negating these people over here, we are all from Zim. We shared memories. We shared the same land. Like, how can we make Zim better? And I've completely forgotten about that. So and for me, the reason I'm pointing out is that metaphor of when you go and try and do anything in life, there's always the people that you can inspire, and then there's the people that doesn't matter what you do, they'll never be inspired by you, and they'll never agree with you, and they'll find reasons to fault you. And if we don't focus on the people that we can help, we focus on the people that actually don't want to see us succeed, we won't do anything. You'll never step into the light, because essentially what you're doing is you're going, well, I can't help out with you. I can't be me with you. So therefore I'm going to just stay in the dark. Whereas actually imagine being surrounded by people that are like, they celebrate your success. They celebrate who you are. They just want you to be so successful that they say, take action. Doesn't matter. Cool. You're inspiring me. Let's lead ahead. How do we make sure that our mental framework, focus, narrative, the inner voice we've got is actually reminding ourselves of those people there, those people that are like, go, you can do it, instead of going to, how do I prove to these people that I'm enough before I action? Because I think that's where we all get stuck. It's like the 5%, and that could already be 5%. They make the loudest noise that we all go, oh, I don't want to upset them. And we forget that maybe there's not 95% others. Like there's the gray middle where it's like, it doesn't really matter. And then there's that 20% down here that like the 20% are waiting for you to step in and go like, let's go. How do we level up? How do we connect? How do we punch? How do we inspire? Like, let's go. Oh, you've got that. Please, can I have some of that? And I think for me, it's been only in the last couple of days where my mind has gone, Don, stop thinking about these 5%. Don, what about those 20%? And actually, there was a friend that was from Zim. His name was Palmer. And I went to school with him in junior school, and he messaged the other day. He's like, oh, you messaged yesterday. He said, you popped up on my Instagram. Do you remember me? I'm Palmer. We went to school together. I was like, Palmer, of course I remember you, bro. Like we went, like my fondest memories of junior school, like at Highlands. Of course, like I could probably 80% of the people I went to school with, we could get a reunion now, and I would probably turn into a little boy again. I'd probably turn to the same me that knew them and like super excited and just connected. I think that'll never be gone. So actually, that's where my mind should go, towards the people that we connect with, those ones that, and then there's even other people that are from Zim that have messaged and followed and all that kind of stuff, and they are succeeding in other areas of life. They're succeeding in Zim, and they're like, loving your success. Let's keep going. And there's that connection there that we need to build, and we need to step into that to then raise up the narrative so that we don't have that 5% that are just wait, like everyone then goes, okay, we can do it differently. So and then I'll wind it back down again to like my personal reflection over these last 4 weeks, maybe 2 months now, is I deleted Instagram. I was like, what's the point? What's the point in going out there if there's so many people that just don't want you to succeed? And it's like, well, because if everyone that had something to give or could help step back because they didn't want to be approached, seen by the 5% here, the world wouldn't be in a better place. So it's not saying that I've got something to change the world, but it's almost just reminding yourself, like there is another dad out there, or even a mom, a parent, there is a business owner, there's a leader, there is someone there that will resonate with the message that I have. And if you're listening to this, there's someone out there that resonates with the message you've got at your stage of journey. And if you're playing small, and this is just a theme, but I mean, you see I've got the Marianne Williamson quote in previous reels, is if you keep playing small, those people don't ever get the chance to come into the light, because maybe you're the key to unlocking them, and maybe they've got the thing that'll change the world. So if you look at very inspirational innovators, leaders, or people that have done something different, they've always been sparked by someone. They've been inspired by someone doing something. So it's not that you have to be the best to step into, it's just that you have to be something, because it's like, I use the word spark, it's like sparking a fire. You don't have to be the end result, you just have to be the start. Or you can be the kindling and then someone else is the log, but they can't light up if you don't light up. I used that analogy earlier today. So we'll use episode 98, which is this one, is like spark. We had reignite last week. We're going to spark this week. And this is me essentially just talking to myself. So if no one listens to this episode, I don't really mind. Of course I do, because you guys matter. But it's let's step forward and be the spark. So that means you don't have to constantly blow this massive fire, but let's just spark. Like, how can you spark people around you? So the challenge I give you is pay careful attention to the people you interact with over the next couple of weeks, and see if you can at least spark someone's facial expression, body language, or energy to be slightly different because they saw you. because that's how you start to see the effect that you've got. So when you see someone be genuinely excited, if you've got kids, it's the easiest. Like when they walk in the room, you just puppy dog them. You just turn into a Labrador and you're like, hey, how you doing? They love it. Their energy's like, what's going on here? If you're in business, I think especially in business, especially on adults, like we all try and put on this facade of measured, tempered, and all that kind of stuff. But actually, some of the best people that I've met are the ones that I've put on a pedestal, and they just bought themselves right off of it by cracking a joke and being human. And I'm just like, I feel so safe around you. So maybe you can try and go out there and spark in a place that needs a spark, which is so damp that you just come in and you spark, and just see if you can just create it in someone else. And so let's see how that energy transfer, the energy effect starts to happen around you. Because then it's different. So for me, the lesson for like when you're really challenged and you can fool yourself into going, I do the podcast, I've got all these things going on. But then that reel happened and it really made me go small. But lean into that. Let's go like that's the gift that comes there. Is like, let me go and talk about it on a podcast now, put a podcast social media out there that I spoke about my reactions to this, and just see where it goes. Like there, even now I'm like, oh, I've spoken about some things that can be taken the wrong way. And my mind's already like, oh, how's it? Actually, it doesn't matter. Like I don't need anyone's permission to go and speak about my thoughts, because actually when I speak about my thoughts, what I'm really saying is, can we have some really healthy dialogue where we just help look at each other's perspectives without thinking that one is wrong and one is right? So if I was to sit down and speak to someone that was genuinely hurt and genuinely affected by what happened in Zim, and they genuinely embody that, like, my story doesn't matter and all that kind of, like, let's actually chat. Like, where does that come from? And maybe I need to understand a few things, because the reality is, the reason I've never, if you speak about, I've never held any anger to what happened, because I can really understand why like other people would be angry. I can really understand how when you've got a history, a story, a narrative, an upbringing, you've got the challenge you've got, it's so easy to hold that in you. And yeah, I'm like, how far back do we go? How far back do we go to actually go, well, that's the start point, we can move forward from there? And for me, it's how can we sit down and have some healthy conversation where we just genuinely want each other to end that conversation in a better space. Now, I know why we can't do that. Why? I mean, Instagram's a terrible place to like use an example, because it's just, everyone just vomits on comments. But are you able to practice having healthy conversations with relationships, friends, and people that you have around you? Because if you can have healthy conversations at home, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, then you can do that for like challenging discourse that you might have with people you don't know, because it's really easy to just butt heads with people you don't know and get angry at them. But imagine you could be the person that goes around that can healthily communicate, that actually can solve problems. Wouldn't that be a hell of a something to have? So, starting to digress, I will do a series of my journey. If you do want to hear it, please just comment, reply to the email if you don't know where else to put it, or just comment on Instagram. Because I will say it just depends when. We've got episode 100 coming up in 2 episodes time. So if you have any suggestions, insights, what would you like to hear in number 100, then I'll go with that. How do we celebrate it? Maybe I'll look at the journey so far again. But yeah, I love being able to talk. I love being able to do this. I love how things are developing, even though you may not see it and I may not see it. We'll just keep on going. So thank you very much for tuning in again. I know that you may have got a lot out of this, or you may have got nothing. I got something out of it, and that's what matters. Okay. Have a great day. Remember, Ubuntu, we are who we are through others. So I'll work on me for you if you work on you for me. Okay, that's what it really means. Is you as an individual are so important, because you make me who I am, and I'm going to take that same responsibility on myself. Have a great day. Any comments? Make someone's day. Go and spark. Bye.